I realize that it's been a very long time since my last video. Honestly, I didn't think I would ever get around to continuing this channel outside of losing my job. But I finally figured out how my ADHD medication works. Go me. Anyway, everything is much clearer for me now, so I can actually devote some time to making new videos. I still have a bunch of custom archetypes I haven't posted on this channel yet, and in honor of Professor Layton's return to form after this... well, I don't think Catchill's game sucks per se, but it just doesn't hold a candle to her father's outings. Professor Layton stands out among other handheld puzzle franchises for its unique stories, quirky characters, and British charm. Professor Hershel Layton himself has many unique qualities that other video game protagonists don't. He's prim and proper, he's pacifistic at heart, and his means of foiling his adversaries vastly differ from typical methods like shoot it until it dies. When designing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype based on the Professor Layton series, I kept these aspects in mind. This is the puzzling archetype, and they follow three basic principles. First, every monster is an illusion monster, as befitting the theme of puzzle solving. Even though they don't have that Eye of Yugioh portrayed in every official illusion monster in the game, they still have that same mechanic of cannot destroy nor be destroyed in battle. This is very important for a puzzling deck since its win condition demands that its player never destroy any opposing card throughout the duel for any reason. The third principle is that a puzzling deck's main form of interacting with the opponent is to declare certain card names and banish them face down. The titular Professor Layton himself has one basic purpose: making the opponent banish a declared card from their deck face down. This can not only neutralize potential limited cards before they become a problem, but it makes him very good in just about any side deck. He also protects level 1 monsters on his side of the field from being attack targets as a little bonus. Luke Triton follows the same principle, but he banishes a declared card from the opponent's hand. Unlike Layton, he lets the player see their opponent's hand, and unlike Layton, there's a penalty for getting a declaration wrong.
I think I've got it!
The player would have to banish one of their other cards face down. Flora Reinhold rounds out the trio by declaring extra deck monsters. She doesn't penalize players for guessing wrong, and doesn't let the player look into the opponent's extra deck. If the opponent doesn't have an extra deck, she can speed up the archetype's win condition directly. There's also a fourth monster, Don Paulo, who plays like a kaiju while you control Layton. Specifically, Layton gets to do this thing where he unmasks an opponent's monster's true identity as Don Paulo.
It is you. Layton, you pay for this!
If Don Paulo battles, most likely by Layton, his controller has to banish one of their non-illusion monsters from their board face down. Now, since this archetype doesn't focus on combat, it doesn't have any powerful monsters in it. There is no puzzling boss monster of any kind. In fact, Don Paulo is the last monster, so now for the spells. Granny Rilton's Shack is the main searcher of the deck. Pretty standard, it's like the reinforcement of the army. It's the mandatory 3-of and prevents the player from accidentally destroying an opponent's card after it resolves. Hidden coins let the player look at the top of their opponent's deck, which makes getting puzzling monster effects easier to get right. Like in the actual Professor Layton games, hidden coins are more effective the more they are used on a puzzle. In this case, the puzzle is solving the opponent's deck. Since hidden coins are easy to fetch from the grave, they should be used as much as possible. The City of London is any puzzling deck's field spell, but only works if you never destroyed any opposing card throughout the game. It gains effects for each hidden coin in the grave. 1 lets the player search the most important card in the deck, 2 prevents any and all destruction with card effects, and all 3 let puzzling monsters become quick effect. Speaking of the most important card, the culprit revealed is the win condition in the whole deck. Like London, the player cannot have ever destroyed an opposing card to use it. Each time a puzzling monster banishes an opponent's card, culprit gets a pick-a-rack counter on it. 10 pick-a-rack counters are an automatic victory. Plus, culprit itself is completely immune to opposing card effects. In other words,
No taking it off.
this would be broken if it wasn't for the fact that culprit takes itself off the board if the player ever destroys an opponent's card for any reason. Now for the traps. It wouldn't be a Professor Layton archetype without T. A puzzling spot of it can target banish any opposing card face down if a puzzling monster banishes an opponent's card. Keep in mind that traps don't grant picker-out counters, so this is meant to remove potential problem cards that keep the deck from fulfilling its win condition. Spot of Tea also gets to come back when, not if, Hint Coin is activated. That means any opponent's card will throw off this effect's timing if they chain to Hit Coin, so keep that in mind. Riposte gives each puzzling monster the ability to Omni-Negate. This works even if the declared card isn't in the opponent's hand, deck, or extra deck, but is held back by a hard once per turn. That's all 10 cards. Now for this video's combo. It involves a Hint Coin and Hershel Layton. First, summon him, then play Hint Coin to see the top card of your opponent's deck. Keep track of how many times you play it, since it grants greater returns each time it's activated. When you see the top card of your opponent's deck, use Layton's effect to banish it. This sets off Hint Coin's graveyard effect to return to your hand, which lets you play it again. This time you'll see the top 2 cards. Use that information to anticipate your opponent's moves. If you open with London or Culprit, you can use either to put the latter on the board as well. My sample deck relies on the synergy between Nightmare Apprentice and Master Tao the Chanter. The former can search any illusion monster while the latter revives one if it hits the graveyard. There are 3 Laytons and 2 of the other puzzlings, plus Redox recently went up to 3 in December's TCG ban list. This deck is primarily Earth, so they synergize extremely well. Finally, there's 1 Golgoyle for a third form of revival that can also fetch a monster from banishment. Revival cards are essential for a puzzling deck to get its picker-outs quickly, since each of their effects only have a soft once per turn clause. For the spells, Granny Riddleton's Shack and Hit Coin are obvious 3-ups. There are 2 Londons instead of 3 because Terraforming replaces the third one. 1 for 1 turns out Luke or Flora and can send Redox or Tal for its cost. Pot of Prosperity offers one-time consistency, and banishing excess extra deck monsters is a no-brainer. 1, the Culprit revealed is all that's needed, since London can put it right on the board. Since it usually comes off if the player screws up and pops an opposing card, there's no good reason to have a second copy. Finally, there's 3 Dark Ruler No Mores for go-second situations, plus the lack of life point damage is irrelevant to this deck. Speaking of which, there are also 3 copies of Evenly Matched. It's probably the only reliable field wipe this deck can use that doesn't break the no popping restriction. 1 of each puzzling trap, since Shaq can search them anyway. The final trap, Silhouette Trick, offers mass negation with a board full of illusion monsters, which this deck strives to do anyway. The extra deck is mostly a random assortment of rank 1 and 3 Ixies monsters. It's not all that important for this archetype, but it doesn't hurt to have options. Just make sure to summon them in defense position. If your opponent rams a weak monster against a non-illusion monster, it will get destroyed in battle and screw up the deck's win condition. That's why most of them are defensive options, and some of them are 2-ups to banish with Pots of Prosperity. Number 30 Acid Golem of Destruction is the exception. It's mainly an answer against skill drain decks that shut puzzling deck monsters down. There's also 1 Relinquished Anima and 2 Silhouette Rabbits. Searchable level 1 monsters make the former speak for itself, while the latter is the only Illusion Link monster in the official game. The ability to set Silhouette Trick from the deck is a nice bonus, but make sure not to pop a spell or trap with Rabbit. The side deck might need some explaining. 3 Dimension Shifters and 2 Dimensional Fissures are good against graveyard-centric decks, but it gets difficult to revive puzzling monsters. 3 Small Worlds let any excess Dimension Shifter be exchanged for Nightmare Apprentice or Redox through Master Tao. 2 Cosmic Cyclones for more back row hate that doesn't pop a card. Gozen Match and Rivalry of Warlords are floodgates to stop the opponent from playing. That leaves 3 unusual options. 2 of them are Eye of Truth. The ability to keep tabs on an opponent's hand at all times make Luke terrifyingly strong. Again, the constant life point gain is irrelevant. And lastly, Trap Eater. It's meant to take off Skill Drain or Imperial Iron Wall and can be searched for Small World. Any other illusion monster connects to Nightmare Apprentice to Trap Eater. Obviously, Small World won't work if Imperial Iron Wall is already in play, so you might want to search Trap Eater in advance. And that's everything. I know I've been gone for a long time, but I'm finally back to making videos. I still have that job, so videos won't be super frequent. Anyway, I hope you enjoy playing with them in customs. As always, feel free to let me know of your thoughts or feedback in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're interested in more gaming custom cards.